We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, like every month, on different platforms.
I literally went to sleep one night. The next day, it had 1.5 million views, and we sold out of everything.
How did you go into like designing a top? Like, do you know fashion design?
I don't have any fashion degree.
Especially trying to grow and scale a company in these days, I feel like having your niche and monetizing that is so powerful because then you can really kind of get in and scale from there.
Yeah. We had some friends that were starting to blow up on TikTok just by posting videos.
All right, Natalie Rogers Soto and Jacob Soto, welcome to the Millionaires Mic. I'm so excited to dive into all things Klassy. You guys are running a multi-million-dollar fashion brand, which is so crazy. But also, as a customer and a huge fan myself, I'm excited to dive into your journey and everything that's made your brand where it is today and where we're going. So I'm really excited. So let's jump on in.
Yes, that we're excited to be here. Thank you. I'm so excited to chat with you. And I met you at our pop-up. That was so awesome.
Yeah, I literally, for those of you guys listening, this is going to sound really creepy. That's not. But I had you actually on my list of like entrepreneurs that I wanted to sit down and talk to, especially because fashion I think is super cool. And then you're a young female founder, and which I've been like, those are always the best stories, in my opinion. So I had you on my list, and then I found out that you lived in Orlando. Then I saw that you were doing a pop-up, and I literally told Tom, I was like, I'm going to go to this pop-up, and I'm going to meet Natalie. Because I slid into your DMs months ago, and I was like, I don't think she's going to see this. But I was like, if I go there and I talk to her, then maybe we'll have a chance.
No, that's not how we're met here. I was like, oh my gosh, of course, I would love it. And it's great that you're in Orlando, too. And yeah, it's hard to meet other entrepreneurs in Orlando. So
Yeah. Oh, believe me, we are very aware of that. Okay, so to get to, I guess, kick things up and get started, how did you guys start Klassy? I want to know, like,
from the beginning.
How do you start a fashion brand? Why Klassy?
Yeah, I'd love to get. Should we go all the way back?
We can take them all the way back.
Okay. So it was back in 2018 when we first started Klassy, and me and Jacob are high school sweethearts. So we've been together since we were 15 and 16 years old. We actually started our first business when we were in high school together. So we had our first company. It was a service-based company, so it was a lot of in-person work. So you get paid if you show up, kind of thing. And for us back then, we were just curious about the idea of starting an e-commerce brand. We were really wanting to do something online in the online space after doing a service-based company for, I think it was over 5 years at that time. Yeah, so Jacob really got into Facebook ads and things like that. He was teaching himself how to do those, and he was partnering with like other local businesses to try to help them with Facebook ads. Then one day he was just like, what if we had our own e-commerce brand? And I was like, that would be cool. And so from then on, we were just constantly thinking about what type of product would be a great product to start a business with. And that's when we decided to go in the fashion area. I would say the first product that we did, you wouldn't consider it maybe fashion right at first, but we launched with blue light glasses, actually. I don't know if you know that. Yeah. So for me, it definitely was fashion because I always thought like eyewear was so fun, but I didn't need glasses. So I was like, this is such a great way to make eyewear fun and fashionable, and anyone can wear it because it's just blue light lenses, and it's a great first product to start with because it's one size fits all. So
It was super trendy back then.
yeah, exactly. Actually, we got on it before it even popped off. I don't know
Yeah.
if you want to talk to that. You were like, how did you know?
Because it popped off around 2018, 19, 20.
Yeah.
So if you were before, the market was pretty open.
Yeah, no, I think like what Natalie's really good at is like understanding what's going to be very popular.
That's good.
And that was like her first thing, because I was like, fashion is very expensive to get into. Takes a lot of money, as you guys could probably see behind us. Like we have a whole bunch of stuff here, and it costs a lot of money to manufacture that. But for eyewear, it was that, like you said, one size fits all, and we were able to kind of start very small with that. So it was a great product to start at. But as we wanted to scale the company, that's when we had to transition into more products.
Yeah, I think that for me, there was no cute blue light glasses at the time. There were those big orange ones that kind of looked like construction glasses. And for me, I was like, I don't want to wear that. What if we could make them cute? And then we did our first batch of inventory, and I think we did 200 units. And we have literally, we had no followers at this time. So I was never an influencer first. I was always like a businesswoman first. So we had maybe like 1,500 followers on our account before we actually launched the product.
Yes,
And
nothing.
yeah, we kind of just would post like motivational quotes and things like that, try to get followers, you know? But we did end up selling out within the first 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
So so sorry, but
Yeah.
impressive. But did you do that with your Instagram account or did you do that with Facebook ads?
So a good question. So we did it all organically, which is very exciting. And I think maybe back in 2018, it wasn't as common to do organic strategy, but for us, we just saw that there was so much power in micro influencers at the time. So we had reached out to, I think, 10 or 20 influencers that had 10,000 followers, 20,000 followers, and we just asked them to do a post on our launch day in exchange for products. And back then, 2 influencers or micro influencers agreed to do it, and 2 of them actually did it out of the 20, you know? So it was great that we reached out to a good amount because 2 of them did do it, and with those 2 posts, we ended up selling out in 2 weeks, and we were just like, "It worked, I can't believe it," and that's what everything for us was just like, "This is going to be so fun." We just got so excited. Anything you wanna add to that?
Yeah, I think with that, we found such a good niche with it because we were in like we weren't just like reaching out to all types of creators. Like we found kind of like this like business women and business entrepreneurs, and that kind of our product solved that for them because they're always staring at their computer screens. So I think because we found that like niche of customer, we were able to sell. We found that product market fit, which is the biggest thing when it comes to business is product market fit. And so we found it, we confirmed it, and we're like, okay, let's do it again.
Yeah. That's so smart, the way that you're able to, like, monetize that, like, very specific group of people. Because I think especially now in business, I mean, not now, but that's always been a thing, but especially trying to grow and scale a company in these days, I feel like having your niche and monetizing that is so powerful because then you can really kind of get in and scale from there.
Yeah, that was definitely the one thing that helped us stand out and be noticed, I think, by the people. And because we were so early on with the stylish frames, it was a very easy impulse buy, wasn't too expensive, and that was how we got into the space. And then I would say, how many years later? I think it was just like 1 year later when I was starting to get a little bit burnt out with eyewear, and I really was excited about fashion, and I wasn't sure how to pivot into fashion, but I really wanted to figure that out. And I told Jacob, I'm like, I just want to make a top that I don't have to wear a bra with, that I can have padding inside, and just wear it with everything and wear it every single day because that's all I was looking for and I couldn't find one. And he at first didn't really get it, of course, because he's a guy. He got the boys don't get it, the girlies get it. And of course, he was supportive enough to be like, if you really believe in it, we can do it. And we can, take a risk and get our first batch of inventory. And so once he agreed to that, we decided to start that process. And that was like, I would say, an 8-month process for us to do the sampling and then get our first design, everything like that. And then once that shipment came in, we just sold it to our customers. It was a little bit off for them at first because it was, a transition to eyewear, to fashion. But, a few sold, but it definitely didn't move as quickly as we wanted it to at first. Yeah. So that was something we had to slowly kind of transition into. And then when TikTok came about, that's when we ended up going viral with one video of me talking about the top. So that was in 2020. And I was just talking about why I designed this top and why it's so much better than the other tops with built-in padding. And then I literally went to sleep one night. The next day, it had 1.5 million views, and we sold out of everything. And it was honestly like a year after we launched the product. So it definitely took some time. But once we found our people, and it was exciting.
I'm one of this.
Really? On TikTok? Was it back in 2020 or no?
Oh,
I'm like, when did you find out about us? I'm so curious.
maybe it was around that time. I don't remember if it was 2020, 2021, but I'm a proud customer as well because I'm obviously.
No, it looks so good on you.
No, but that's so good because 2020 was the golden age of TikTok because no competition, right?
Yeah.
And you did something that now is trendy. Like 5 years later, it's trendy. It's like documenting
Yes.
and talking about like it's
So
the best.
smart.
But yeah, to come back on like the fact that you didn't understand, it was my first reaction when she told me she was going to your pop-up. I was like, okay, like it's a top. It's just a top. And then she explained me and I'm like, oh, okay, makes sense. But I understand as men that it's not very like
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I really got the blue light glasses either, but I was like, let's give it a shot, and it worked. And so I think when you realize someone has such like a gift for that,
Yeah.
you just kind of like you're like, yeah, whatever. We were doing really good. I was like, okay, what's the next product? You think it's that? Okay, let's do it. And it did sit on the shelf for like 8, 9 months. But that one day I was just like, what, to for us to get into this new product, like you have to just make TikToks about it, and because that was the beginning of it, and it really changed
Literally told me,
everything for.
go make TikToks today. That's all I want you to do. Go in the room and just make TikToks. That's it. And let's see what happens. Because we had some friends that were starting to blow up on TikTok just by posting videos. And they were just telling us, oh my goodness, this is crazy. You got to try it. And so we, of course, at first you're like imposter syndrome. Like, I'm not an influencer. Nobody's going to see my stuff or care. And after we had a friend tell us, like, you just got to give it a try, Jacob the next day was like, please just post as many as you can today. And let's just see what happens. So
It worked.
it did work. I'm like shocked. Yeah.
That is really cool.
Wait, and also what's good with like organic content is like it's 100% margin. You don't have to pay for ads, for influencer, whatever. So it's the best. And also, sorry, but also I feel that people that come from organic content are way more engaged that if you just show up in their feed, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna buy, but I'm not like a hardcore fan.
Yeah.
I feel like also what's really unique, especially when you hear content that's from the founders, you really buy into that story. You feel kind of like an emotional connection to it because you understand why it exists. And I feel like it just makes it that much more meaningful to make that purchase or to support that brand. So that's really cool that you kind of blew up on TikTok and that was like the catalyst to becoming the brand that you are today.
Yeah.
Real quick though, I did want to backtrack. Okay, how did you go into like designing a top? Like, do you know fashion design or how do you go from like I have an idea in my head to being like this is a top and now I'm working with a manufacturer to getting it?
Yeah. So after doing the blue light glasses and understanding that you just have to explain what you want, you don't necessarily need to have like all the skills of making a perfect tech pack or tech drawing. You can really just chat with someone, explain your vision and make sure it's clear, make it come to life. And when I saw that with the blue light glasses, I didn't even let that limiting belief stop me from doing the fashion. I did feel a little bit like I don't know how to explain this and it wasn't easy, but after a few months of communicating, I just explained what I wanted to the manufacturer. I had multiple samples that were just horrible. Not it. They were like elastic bands, so uncomfortable, super tight, and it just took a really long time. But I knew that if I continued to communicate back and forth, that we would get to where I wanted to be. But yeah, I don't have any fashion degree. I will say I did like a FITM fashion camp when I was 16 years old, and that's the only experience I have. So I always was interested in fashion, and that's why I did that fashion camp at 16. I think growing up, I always wished I could be a fashion designer, but for some reason, I didn't believe it was possible. I don't know why. I think, you don't hear a lot of success stories with fashion designers, at least when I was growing up. And I used to love watching like Project Runway, things like that, but I didn't ever pursue fashion school or take it seriously, but I was always interested in it. So
That is
so that we ended up here.
yeah, like do you like this is crazy. Like this is all of your products. So, I mean, for someone who didn't think that they could be a fashion designer and didn't know how to make fashion kind of come to life, like
Yeah.
you did it.
No, it honestly, it like pinch me every day. I still can't believe it. When I look around, I'm just like, I can't. Sometimes I'll forget, and then like some days I'll just be like, can you believe that this warehouse is full of things that we designed? It's like our babies, and there's like full. It's so
That's
cool.
a lot of babies.
I know.
And how long was the back and forth with like the suppliers? Because I'm assuming it was a long time, right?
Oh yeah, I think at least for our first ever Brammy top, it was like 8 or 9 months back and forth.
A baby.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bit.
And even now, I think our collections, sometimes they take longer than 9 months to come to life because they're more in depth and we have
Yeah.
multiple styles and color palettes. So it takes like, I would say like 10 months now.
So you're like a true fashion brand because right now you're working on the collection for the next year ish.
Yes. Yeah. I'm like on next spring right now.
Wow, that's crazy. That is crazy.
That is crazy. I had a question and I literally you watch. Okay.
And so when you first launched the first model, right?
Mhm.
So what was your reaction after that? I mean, we're like sold out, amazing, but then you're like, okay, are we still keeping the same or do we want to expand?
Yeah. Good question.
I don't know, like, why don't we do shoes now?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, for me, I definitely knew that I wanted to expand this line because there's only one style that we've had. And I was just hoping and praying every day that they would sell off the shelf. And finally, when that moment came where they sold out, I was so excited. I remember telling Jacob, like, I feel electric. Like I got this like vibration, like excited feeling that I've never felt before. And I feel like as an entrepreneur, that's just like this feeling that you're constantly chasing once you experience it once. And I remember feeling that way with Jacob. And immediately we're like, we're going to put in a reorder, but what is going to be the next style that I come up with? And it just instigated that process for me to start thinking about what the next design would be. And we did have some kind of in the back burner that I've been like sampling. So once that happened, I was so excited to start bringing a few other of those designs to life. And we quickly just added a few. I guess like, I don't know how quickly it was. You remember?
I mean, I think like what we did first was the most logical thing for us was, okay, this style worked. Let's just add a new variant to it. Let's add a new color. So, we moved into new colors while we were trying to move into the next.
Yeah.
But it was probably the high neck top.
The high neck or the mesh top? That was next.
Yeah, I feel like it was the high neck and then it was the mesh. But yeah, I think it was like, okay, let's just add different colors. We brought that back. That sold out, and then we kind of only launched one or two
Yeah.
at a time.
Yeah, yeah, it would be like one top at a time launch. And then another thing that we did is we were just looking at all the comments. We got so many comments on TikTok of people asking for a larger size range. So right off the jump, we did, I think, small, medium, large, extra large. And then after that, we immediately expanded to 3XL. And we also saw that people were asking for like larger bust sizes and things like that. And that's when we started just like spinning our wheels on how can we make a size small work for an A cup, but also like a triple D at the same time. And so we were starting to innovate in that way with like our pads and things like that. And I think that is where we kind of went to next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what really makes us stand out, I think.
Yeah.
Like with our product, it's how much effort we put into designing that part. And the padding is really what makes like our bra tops different because all the other ones, they're just like so flimsy and not good. And that's like a pro for us, but then it's also a challenge because we have to educate on that a little bit. So
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you guys that too because I saw the range that you have, and I remember at the pop-up they were like, "Do you need different cup sizes?" I got like, "I'm a founding member of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee. I am okay with what comes in here." But I thought that was cool because I have friends and like I know people that have bigger, bust sizes where they might be a smaller frame, but this would not fit them. They would definitely need a little bit more support.
Yeah.
And I've heard from them that they struggle with like finding those kind of
Mhm.
cuter tops because they either do too much in the front, they don't do enough in the front.
Exactly.
So I was going to ask you guys, I mean, how you've been able to, manage the range and like deal with the different cup sizes and
Yeah.
stuff. Like when you come down to designing, how do you like factor that in
Yeah.
to your sizing?
Now it's a huge part of the design process for sure. So we have real fit models. So we have people on our team, we have people that come in who are our models, real people that we know that we have come in to fit every single style. And we don't fit every single size, but we fit small, we fit large, and we fit 3XL. So every like kind of every other size of the models that come in, and that is a huge part of our process. I know that in the fashion industry, especially in fast fashion, they do a lot of just like scaling to size and like automatic grading, and a lot of the times consumers will be frustrated because they size up but then the fit is just off. And with us, we don't do that. We fit on real bodies and we fit on multiple chest sizes. So for example, on a size small, I'm the fit model for everything, so I want to make sure I literally try on every single garment and fit it to my liking first. And then after I like it, then we will try it on, for example, Serena in-house, and she is a 32 triple D or 34 triple D, and I'm a 34B. So it's like I want to make sure it fits me and then it also fits her. And so we do that with all of our sizes to make sure it can fit all the way up to a double J for our 3XL model, and then up to a size A or down to a size A as well on our team. So we really just try it on everybody in-house. We make sure our internal structures are long enough so that they can fit a small pad, but they can also fit a 3XL pad. And in the industry, you don't really get that. And I think that's why nobody has chose to start a brand with this being their core product, because it is difficult. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of innovation, and nobody really wanted to do that. But I said, I'll do it.
And good for you because it's working. Speaking about the high fashion, I know the return rate, it's like 18% approximately. What is your rate and how do you manage the return of the product?
Yeah, we do all of our returns in-house, but something we're really proud of. I know in fashion it could be up to, I think on average it's like over 25% or like 30%. Yeah, they're like
25, I'm not shocked.
maybe in I think it's even more on e-commerce, like fashion. So for us, we're all the way down. I think our newest collections are like under 10%.
Amazing.
So like on average, because I think we do all of that fitting under 10%. I think the highest we ever got to was last year, and that's was like 12%, which was still way below.
Yeah.
And so we analyze that every month, and we're always like, what styles do we need to cut or edit to just improve that every time? Because one, we don't want to create waste, and two, we're just trying to create the best product possible.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. And I mean, it's tough to track, but did you track that? Do you have more refunds on the pop-up or online? I would assume online, as we said, but
For sure. Yeah, definitely like online, because they just don't know how it's going to fit their body. And sometimes it's not even if it fits them right. It's just, is that the style that they like, So, but in person, when they come in person, I mean, they get to feel it, they get to see it.
shit and that stuff.
The line for the dressing room for the pop-up was pretty long,
She
right?
told me that it was crazy.
It was like over an hour wait at some point, and I was just shocked. And to me, it's so exciting because we don't really do that many pop-ups. That was our second ever pop-up that we've ever done, that you came to. First with fitting room,
Okay.
right? So it was so shocking to see that people were willing to wait in line for that long to just try it on. And I think we had like 5 to 8 fitting rooms going, which is a lot.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so it was just, we were trying to get as many people through. But to me, it just shows that having an e-commerce brand, and especially one like this, people that see it online, they really, really want to try it on. So for us, like, part of our growth strategy is definitely to get in store and having some storefronts as soon as possible.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys if you see a future of not being online, because I remember at the pop-up, I actually was standing in line for a hot minute of like, oh, let me see, because I think what also is unique and what's different about your brand, because I know like what size I fit into, like when I go shopping at like all of the other stores, but when you're shopping with an online brand, especially one that has padding and stuff, you don't know if it's gonna fit the way that you would if you were shopping at another store. And then I remember I was waiting in line, and then I asked, I think one of your like associates who was like working, and I was like, "Oh, I think this will fit me." And she was about my size, so she was like, "Oh, this is the size I'm wearing." So I was like, "All right, I'm gonna do that," and it worked out. Like it's totally good. What I was gonna ask you before though is why braless? Like, where did you get the idea of like
Right.
not having a bra on as opposed to just wearing like a strapless bra with the top? How did you go about that?
So for me personally, I have a small chest. I'm a 34B, and so many of my friends could just go braless and like wear just their shirt and their nips not poke through. I don't know if I can say that on here, but for me, I could never do it because I have very pointy nipples. Like, they are shelling through any shirt, and so that was my pain point. So I was constantly looking for pasties or things like that. I could do the pasty life, but oh my gosh, those trap sweat. And if you are out, hello, I live in Florida. I will go out on a summer day wearing a pasty, and I will lean up against the counter, and it will leak through my shirt, and I'll have sweat marks of like pasty stains. And that is horrible.
It's worse than the pointy nips, I think.
Exactly. I'd rather have the pointy nips at that point. So for me, I'm just looking for this solution out there that I could not find. And I just hate strapless bras. They're constantly falling down. I think I have a sensory sensitivity because I really just don't love the feeling of a tight band under your chest. So even for us, most of the bra tops on the market that do exist, they usually are made with elastic bands. Don't like elastic because it still pinches me and it's uncomfortable. So for us, we actually make our compressive bands. Did I say that right? Compressive bands out of football pants fabric.
Really?
It's a really stretchy spandexy fabric. That is the band.
Okay, that makes so much sense because I'm wearing it and I'm like, it doesn't feel compressing like a sports bra would.
Right.
It's so comfortable, and that's what I love the most about like your styles in general. Like, not only are they like super fashionable and chic, because I'm like, I love to dress up when I'm out.
I love your outfit.
But at home, I look like I'm homeless. Like, I want to be in a t-shirt and sweatpants. But what I love, because I love to look cute but be really comfortable, and I feel like you guys do the perfect combination of the two of those. Because I've worn things that maybe have like built-in pad, or like you think of like a Zio top, or like I said, a sports bar or a workout top, and they say
They're all the same, right?
do not give us. I could literally lounge all day in this and then also go to like a really cute dinner, drinks, and that's what I love about your styles is they're so versatile in that sense, and they're just so freaking comfortable.
Yes, no, I'm so glad you get it. And I think that's the hardest thing to get the viewers to understand, because it is one of those products, once you try it, you understand that if you see it online, you're assuming it's just like those other bra tops, like that you can maybe get at Lulu, like the Align top. Like, no, the Align top is so tight and so original. They're like suffocating. Yeah, it's like, it's cute, but I'm like, ugh, like, I have to fight a war to get the big. Exactly. So, yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna add anything to that. I'm just rambling.
I have another question about that. Of course, I cannot like deny or approve like this situation because we don't have this problem. Um, regards to the traffic and acquisition, are you still working on only organic, or you were saying that you master Facebook ads? So I'm assuming Instagram ads as well. But do you do something else about that?
Good question.
Yeah, we do a lot of different sources of traffic, but I would say paid traffic is organic is a huge part of the strategy. Like
Yep.
paid doesn't work without organic, like at scale, but we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, like every month on different platforms, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Meta in general. And those are our two main platforms.
Okay.
Lately, huh?
YouTube has been organic. YouTube has been like working with creators on YouTube, which has been performing really well too. So we have our marketing spend for the month, right? We have our revenue goals. Okay, out of that percentage, what can we spend on marketing to run the business and reach those goals? And then we're constantly navigating that on a day-to-day basis, whether we're scaling up different platforms or seeing what's working at the time. Because sometimes one thing's working, something else is not working, and you have to you got to take advantage when it's working here, and when it's not working there, you got to readjust.
Yeah, for sure. And I never used TikTok for like e-commerce products.
Hmm.
Is it working for you? Because I heard like TikTok, if you compare to like Instagram, like buyer are less engaged. But that's
Yeah.
what I heard. Like I never tried, so I want your feedback.
Yeah. I mean, TikTok is really good, I would say, for awareness.
Yeah.
When we're doing our sales, like when we just had our warehouse sale, our spring cleaning sale a few weeks ago, I was actually running conversion based ads on there. And I think when it comes to like discounted product or offers and stuff, it really works on that channel.
Yeah.
But on your day-to-day stuff, it's more of an awareness play. You're not going to get as high of a conversion. But when you're like, for us right now, it's TikTok Shop.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Like TikTok Shop
I
is
just ask you that.
huge for us.
I don't know if you saw the news because it came out today. That's I mean last night. I told you last night when she was
About Amazon.
yeah, she was out asleep, and I was like, hey, Amazon might buy the TikTok. And I don't know, at the same time, that it's super interesting because at the same time, Amazon is pushing really hard on social buying.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amazon Shop and all stuff. And live shopping, yeah.
Yeah.
They are pushing a lot with like influencer. They have the program Amazon Influencer that is super powerful. So it could be the perfect match. Yeah, I think for you, it would be like amazing because you will have like the community.
Yeah.
And TikTok Shop can be a part of that. So
For sure. I mean, for us, this past year has been really focused on diversifying our channels, right? So we're e-commerce, but moving into TikTok Shop was really big for us. TikTok Shop now is like 1/3 of our revenue every month. Like,
that's a lot.
yeah, it's
And
really
prior last year,
yeah, we had none. Yeah, we had
okay, well,
none. I mean, we started about like 4 months ago. Yeah, like November is when we really started.
oh wow,
Yeah, and so
so not a year.
yeah,
Okay.
not even a year. And we even do TikTok live selling. Like we have a spot in the back of the warehouse here where we have a couple girls who go live the whole day. And
But not even both of you. It's just
no, we have
it's good because your brain is not linked to your faces.
Yeah.
So that's the best.
Yeah, no, that's been incredible to see, actually. This year, I think that is the biggest thing that's happened for us is I've seen a lot of our team members become representatives of the brand and it not
Yeah.
being myself
Yeah.
for the first time. Because I will say, after 5 years of doing it, I was starting to get a little bit burnt out with like making content every day and really just like selling the product. Because like that is what I'm so used to, you know? And this year that was one of our goals of let's see if like our team can really take that on and take ownership of that and do a good job at it. And they have blown it out of the park. Like they've done such an amazing job from our ambassador program to TikTok Live to our social strategy. Our team has really become the face of it and have great selling points. It's great because they're not just me, but they also connect to the product in their own personal ways, and seeing that personal experience for them stand out that fits the brand has been so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like what we obviously we look at our analytics on a weekly basis, and like we'll be getting millions of organic touches by the content that the team is making.
Awesome.
Here in the office, their ideas, that they're working through millions of impressions through TikTok and Instagram, and that's what really is helping drive a lot of the business.
Yeah. And now they're getting better than me. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm learning from you guys. You're so good at this.
That's so cool.
So true.
We are talking a lot about the fairy tales situation, but what was the hardest thing you had to face with that business? Because
Had so
you're smiling. I know you had a lot.
Oh, there are a lot. I'm like, which ones should we start with? I guess I'll start with the first one that we normally think of when we ask this question. I think the biggest lesson that we learned, I would say pretty early on, we were maybe like 2 years into the journey where we really learned the lesson. And that is that we are the people who are going to know what's best for the business no matter what, and not to constantly look where to put the decision making. Sometimes, like as entrepreneurs, when you get to levels you've never been before, you're just looking for other people to tell you the answer. And honestly, the only people who are going to know the answer and figure out that answer is the founders of the company who were given the idea, given this amazing, I guess, yeah, just idea to start a business with. And that's what we figured out the hard way, I will say. We are constantly, in the beginning, we were constantly hiring agencies to kind of help us grow or get to the next level or figure certain things out.
Like PR agency.
More marketing agencies, ad agencies, like people who are running ads for us, things like that.
Key experts.
Yes, yeah, we were looking to them. Hey, I will do it for you. And honestly, that's such a common thing. Most entrepreneurs don't know this area, you know? And I think we are very lucky that Jacob took it on himself to figure it out. And that's how we really got through that learning curve. But, at first you're just like at the hands of other people, like just asking them, what do we do? And just trusting them. But really, you got to get in there and you got to figure it out. And you have to learn for yourself. And that was a really, really big, hard learning lesson for us, where we had more money spent on ads and on our credit card than we had in our bank account. How are we going to survive? We're going to have to shut this whole thing down. We were there for sure. Any other ones you want to add? There's like multiple.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's endless, and it's every day because there's always a fire, there's always something that you're learning. But I think a big thing too is like when you're a small business and you're scaling up and you're hiring people, that's a hard and scary thing to do. For us to go from just me and Natalie to hiring other people, and how do you bring someone on correctly? How do you train them? How do you get them to do what you were doing? And you can't expect people to do it as good as you.
Yeah.
If they could do it 60-70% as good as you, that's great. But I think that's like something we really had to work through, is like bringing people on, and how do you scale? Because we went from just me and Natalie, and then within a year's time we had 30 people working for us.
Oh, really, honestly, too fast. Like, I would say our business did grow a little too quickly, I would say, at one stage. But at the end of the day, I mean, we're going to take that growth and we're going to see what we can do with it, And for us, it was really challenging to figure out how can we keep up with this. But that was definitely a challenge for us.
Yeah,
as well.
because it's a whole different job. It's just a two-man job and a woman. To like a team of 30, it's like as you say, you have to train, and also when you hire people, you have to agree that it won't be as good as you, but it's the only way for you to scale.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
No,
like changing.
Hiring, like what you're hiring for too.
Right.
I feel like is also part
a
of
lot of
the
a lot of that like startup culture is, here's a job, but you might be wearing 10 different hats, and I hope that's okay. And then you're gonna help us figure this out and build these processes as we go. So that was a lot of our culture, and still is, I would say, to this day, because that's just what you do as a small business. And a lot of our team members here are family members. So I have my mom, we have my dad, we have Jacob's mom, Jacob's grandfather. Like we hired our family members, and that also has been so helpful because like those are people who have your best interest at heart no matter what, and you can trust them, and they just want to help you build and grow your dreams, which has been so incredible for us. So yeah, beautiful that you get to work with your family. So we love it.
No, I was about to say,
Yeah.
and also that's good because you don't feel guilty of working too hard because you spend time with them at the same time. That's
It's true. Yeah, we all work really hard, and we're so grateful for. Yeah.
you don't build that with that working.
Well, speaking of working, I was going to ask, what is a day in the life like for you, Natalie, and for you, Jacob? What does that look like?
So, day in the life, I feel like most recently this year has gotten a little bit more balanced, which is really exciting for us. We definitely have our mornings that are a little bit slower, which I think is so necessary for our mental health because we will be staying at the office late sometimes. We'll be here sometimes till 8, 9 o'clock, sometimes later. But having a slow morning is really important to us. So, I definitely wake up, I do some movement, not really too hard of a workout lately, but some type of movement, whether it's a walk or something. And then I'm usually getting ready and making some content at my house. And then I usually get in here actually around like noon. Yeah, so noon is when we come in, but we are doing a lot of hybrid days. We're doing a lot of work from home days. So me and Jacob now only come in the office 2 days a week.
All right.
Yeah, which has been really great for us because we're able to have a little bit more balance in our life this year, which has been really nice. On the work from home days, we can have a little bit longer of a morning and usually end a little bit earlier. I don't know, it just works out that way. When you're in office, it's more people are asking you questions and then you end up staying later. So yeah, that's what our day looks like. And then after we finish our work day, we're either doing some more movement, going for a walk, or just making dinner at the house together. Pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean,
You're on a different journey. Jacob is a fitness guy. He's like in the gym.
I feel like I spent a lot of time like focusing on the business and that side of it, and I got away from like health, and that's something that's really big. But a lot of it's changed over the years. Like there's been times where we wake up and it's straight to work, and there's so many things going on. We have all these employees that we're hiring and trying to make sure that they're doing what they need to do for the day. But I think we've gotten to a point where we've trained the team to know like what their roles and responsibilities are, what their goals are. We did bring on this past year a CEO in the brand. So yeah. Yeah. So we do have some investors in the brand and some business partners and stuff, and then a CEO now. So to have someone that's like also running the day to day while we're able to kind of focus at this point on vision is kind of where we've gotten to in this. I would say really in the last 6 months is where we've been trying to transition to, is focusing on product, creating the best product, and what the brand kind of vision is, and then having someone else be able to run that day to day. Obviously, like there's a lot of instances that I'm still coming. Like we're in meetings twice a week, all day. Like that. We kind of scheduled our days to where those 2 days a week that we come in, we're in meetings the moment we get here to the end of the day, answering everybody's questions so that they can go and do what they need to do the other days. Because there's got to be a balance between, you don't want to be sitting in meetings all the time. You got to have your meetings, and then you have to have execution time. So that's kind of the balance that we've had, and that's been a big difference.
Yeah, and I was gonna say also like every day is different. What I described to you was like a good chill day. I would say it's like chaotic day. I said chaotic day.
That's what we need to know. Well, what is it like when you're like in the trenches?
Oh yes, the trenches. We love her. We're in the trenches definitely at least maybe a week and a half out of every month because we have a campaign shoot most months, right? We have a campaign shoot. I think every month we have a different campaign shoot. And those are so fun, but they do take a lot of our time, our energy, our creativity, and the team as well. But yeah, those days it is us waking up, take a shower, everything shower, because I'm also modeling. So I'm like doing my hair, doing my makeup. So, and then I'm packing a styling suitcase and I'm rushing to the studio, and I'm always like 10 minutes late. Every time I try to get there on time, we're always 10 minutes late. It's my fault, right?
I have multiple like, hey, we got an hour. Hey, we got 45 minutes. Hey, we got 30 minutes. Hey, now we're 10 minutes late.
He does the same with me. He's like, what are you doing about my mascara?
Exactly. I don't know how it happens every time, but that is the chaos of like a shoot day. And then we're usually on set for 8 hours those days. And we're just making content after content and making sure everything comes to life. And then after that, we are just exhausted. So that usually happens a week out of every month for sure.
All right,
Yeah.
that makes sense. And how do you manage to not fight
Oh,
because
good question.
you have like two different relationships. You have like the co-worker, co-founder relationship, and you have like the partner relationship.
Yeah.
How do you like make sure that one is not going over the other one?
I don't know. It's really hard. I feel like we do a really good job. Like we don't fight a lot, like ever, you know? So
That's good.
I think we're just always on the same page. And I think that's why it has worked for us because I think for a lot of people this wouldn't work for them. But I think also we go back so far too, like us being together since we're 15, 16 years old. Like we just know each other like front and back. And, like she knows when I'm down and she lifts me up. And when she's down, I lift her up. And, so I think it's just the balance of that. And you have to balance. You got to keep your cool and all this. But yeah, I think we both have the same like mission and we both have the same vision for the company and what we're trying to do here that I think that's what keeps us from not like fighting so much.
Mhm. Yeah. I would say we care so much about each other's opinion. So I feel like I will always make sure he likes it and he'll always make sure I like it before we move on to the next phase. And sometimes, and it's funny because sometimes one person will like it and another person won't, but we never really fight about it. If someone likes it, we always are like, okay, let's just see how it goes then, you know? So it's like if he likes it and I don't love it, I'm like, I don't know, but we can see how it goes. And then if he is really about it, he'll push for it. But then if I say that and he's like, okay, if you don't love it, then we'll not, you know? So it's just I don't know. That's just how it goes with us.
Yeah.
I love that though, because I feel like when you have co-founders or even just in your own like relationship, that chemistry is so important. And so I think it's so nice that you guys both have the chemistry, obviously as a couple, but then as co-founders too, because a lot of times you see married couples where it's like they're amazing as a couple, but in business they're a nightmare. So it's great that you guys have like a really good synergy and are able to work together and bring out the best in each other.
Overall, it's good. I think sometimes we'll like bicker and like we'll do it in front of the team, so that we're like mom and dad to like stop. But like we kind of just like kind of push each other's buttons, but nothing crazy.
No, mainly it's just fun.
Yeah, no, I love that. I wanted to ask you guys about your design process.
Yeah.
So how like you said that you guys work on like you're working on right now for things that are going to come out next spring, so
Yeah.
spring of 26. So how do your like releases work?
Mhm.
How does the design process look like? How do you decide what's going out, when it's going out, all of that?
So a lot of it is trend casting and guessing. But I love Pinterest.
Same.
Yeah, so I'm always looking on Pinterest. I love being on like the fashion side of TikTok. I love to just see what people are wearing. And I don't know, I feel like because we've been doing it for some time, I can kind of sense what is a classic, maybe print, for example. And if it's kind of just coming in, it most likely will be even more in next year. And that's what I've learned over seeing or like studying the patterns of fashion and trends over the past 5 years. So that has been really helpful for me. So if, polka dots is what we did this year, and we kind of noticed that at the end of last year that polka dots were starting to kind of come a rise. And so we were really actually nervous about it because it was our first ever print that we've ever done. And we launched that this spring and it was such a hit and it really validated all of our feelings about it. And so it gave us good confirmation. And I guess we'll have to see because I feel like we're just getting into some more fun fashion things like that. But we're going to kind of repeat that pattern of doing some trend forecasting. But the process is really, it just kind of looks like me getting inspiration for something. It could come from anything, to be honest. Just thinking about the season, the time of year, and what I would want to wear, and trying to kind of make a storyline around that and make a mood board on Pinterest. That's always what I do. And then, yes, and it's always fun. It's a really fun, enjoyable process. Sometimes it is hard. You get like writer's block with it where you're trying to force some collection, but you just don't have the inspiration and you're stuck. And that's when I will try to ask for some help. I'll ask my sister-in-law, Grayson. We're like best friends and she loves fashion too. I'll just be like, what are we feeling for spring next year? Just like asking some other people in my life that I feel like also have a similar taste. And then after that, I sketch on my iPad, just some rough sketches of what I would like. And then I bring it to our tech designer, Annie. She's so talented and she helps me do the final like technical drawings and makes tech packs and we submit that to our manufacturers. Yeah, and then we start the sampling process and that takes months. So that's how it goes.
But that's really cool because you kind of conceptually, like you said, you take it from your minds and then you kind of bring it to life. So think that's really cool. But if you're trend forecasting, have you ever been wrong? Like, have you ever ordered something and you're like, nobody
Oh
loves
my
it?
god, yeah. Well, I would say, like, I don't know, should we talk about, like, one of our
You can, but I don't know if anything has ever, like, not sold, but, like, to the volume, and I think that goes back to, like, learning, like, when it comes to fashion, what percentage you should buy certain collections and certain because like, we had one that was, like, really niche, it was, like, glamour, and it was very, like, sparkly and like, really, you would wear it to a very specific occasion. It sold, but I just bought
way too much?
yeah, like $200,000 worth of inventory, which I probably should have bought.
Less.
Yeah, it's like 50 or like $35,000, so just learning experiences like that on volume.
I guess so, maybe, like, our parachute pants. I don't know if those were really a hit when I wanted them to be. But I think that was also me trying to figure out my personal style and also the brand's aesthetic. And I kind of realized that more recently. What is that? And trying to get very clear on it so that it could just always be on brand. I think that one, the parachute pants we did, they're very, like, street style. And I loved them back then. But yeah, that one definitely didn't hit. And that's okay. We just, have the inventory and we mark it down when we can, do a warehouse sale, and eventually they'll go. But all of our products, we definitely believe in them and they're good quality products. But sometimes they just don't hit. And I think that experience that Jacob said, that was another, I would say, really good learning experience that was tough for us to get through. When we started designing specialty collections, we didn't really know how much to purchase as far as inventory goes, and we really bet super hard on this specialty collection. Not that the pieces weren't on trend or anything, but they were more unique, and then he, overbought on them, and we were like, "Dang, we still have, like, so many pieces of this dress," like, and it was sitting in the warehouse for a little bit, but that's just part of business and, it happens and you learn.
Yeah, exactly. There's always a good learning lesson. Sometimes it's expensive, but
It's yeah.
And I got a question about the collection. So, of course, your goal is to sold out, but my question with businesses that needs to sold out is that
Mhm.
are you not afraid to miss out on some sales
Yeah,
as you're out of stock?
right.
Or is it okay because because you're gonna bring like kind of a FOMO by the fact that it's a limited collection and it's gonna increase sales no matter what?
Yeah, I mean, that's always it's funny because we had this conversation today as we're sitting in our design meeting where we're like, okay, like prep for this collection is X amount of money. Should we buy more or not?
Well, they asked, like, "Blue or black? Is blue or black gonna sell? Which one?" I'm like, "I don't know." No.
Yeah, it's like we never know which one's gonna sell better, and so it's really hard. So what you wanna not do is overbuy. Like that's the one thing that will kill an e-commerce based business or a product based business, and we've learned from experience is buying too much. So I think you want to be as conservative as possible because if you buy too much, then you got to put it on sale and it's gonna hurt your brand. You can always restock, and you would rather that inventory come in and go out, and yeah, there might be
Missed
a
opportunity.
missed opportunity on sales, but what it does is it also gets the customer to take action because they're like, "Hey, like, if I want this, it's gonna sell out." And we're a small brand. We're not Abercrombie. We're not like these, other giant brands. Like, we can't just sit on inventory. So I think you can't get too greedy.
Ye
Don't get too greedy in business, and like you have this really good product. Like I feel like we have this collection that's gonna be so good, and we could probably sell $1 million of it. But I'm like, okay, no, like we just pull it back. If it does good, we'll do it again next year. And I think that's the better way to look at it.
I like that.
yeah, I like that too. I did want to ask you guys. I saw that you guys did a brand trip with a bunch of influencers, and I feel like brand trips, when you see them on social media, I feel like before it was like super cool, really
Mhm.
crazy, and all that stuff. And obviously we see what it's like as a consumer side,
Right.
but I wanted to get an idea from a brand perspective.
Mhm.
What is it like doing a brand trip? How well does it pay off?
Yeah.
How fun is it? What's the like
Yeah.
plus side of doing all of that?
I would say doing a brand trip, or at least hosting a brand trip, is exactly what you would think. Like, picture yourself doing one, right? That is exactly how it felt for me. Like, hello? we're going to do a brand trip. These people are not going to come. Are you kidding? They're not going to come to a trip. That's exactly how it feels. Like literally it's like someone who could be just anyone, like a no one. Like that's exactly how it feels for us to just decide that we're going to do it. And that was, I guess, our first one. That's exactly how it felt. And that was back in 2022 when we did our first brand
Like,
trip.
have to do a brand trip. And that was like when brand trips were just kind of getting really
Or like going
I
out
was
somewhere.
we're doing really well. Like
After COVID.
we
yeah.
have to do a brand trip.
This is all Jacob. Oh, 100%. Natalie has too much social anxiety. Even though I'm like I don't know, I'm definitely an extrovert, but like, I don't know, I get too in my head about putting on big things like this. I'm just like, we can't do
I
that.
don't know. I love to put on big things like this. So I would like go on vacation. And so I was like, we can make this a tax write-off and we get to party with a whole bunch of really cool people.
Work smarter, not harder. I like it. And I'm like, okay, if you plan it, I'll show up. So he did with our team, and he really brings that energy.
We started like sending out invites to like
Some of the biggest people.
Yeah, because you had huge people there.
I can't. It was basically like, okay, who do you want to come? Anyone in the world. Let's just send an email and see what they say. You never know.
everybody we watch. We were like, let's just send them an email, see what happens.
Yeah.
And I would say like we were like 90% of the people we wanted to come to that first one said yes. Right.
It was the most surreal experience because for us, we're just like, oh, I'm going to see the email, you know? And then like all of a sudden we would walk into the office and we're like, you guys, did you see who said yes? And we're just like, no way. We were honestly shocked. And then once we started getting a few replies like, yes, 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 that's when things started to get super serious. And we just took it very seriously and we started really fully planning the rest of the trip out. And yeah, the first trip was incredible. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was definitely such a great experience. We ended up partnering with like an all-inclusive resort, which was really great. So they could order whatever drinks, whatever food. It's all paid for with the room, and we got the rooms, everything like that. They are expensive to put on. Yeah, they're very expensive.
I think our first one cost us like probably like $130,000.
Wow. But so I guess when you do a brand trip, so you're basically paying to fly out all the influencers and you cover their stay and stuff. So I guess it's, I don't want to put words in your mouth. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like from a brand standpoint, it works out better financially because you're paying $100,000-ish for a bunch of people. Everyone's all there and everyone's supporting your brand versus I'm sure each of their rates, if you were to add them all up, would be significantly higher.
Exactly. Yeah. I think for us, once we got there, we realized how important and how valuable it is to just build relationships with these creators because now not only are they talking about us, but they get to meet us and like understand the people behind the brand and we become kind of friends and we get to keep up with each other after this trip and just like keep up with everyone as our lives continue to go on and support each other. And I think that was so valuable. You can't get that if you're going to pay an influencer just to post about your product.
Right.
So exactly. You got that connection and you get everyone together in one space. They all get to network and it really just adds a lot of value, I think, to the brand. I would say ROI right off the bat. Sometimes it's hard to gauge because, it's not like you have everyone purchasing through a specific link or anything like that. But for us, impressions,
We look at their content
Yeah.
and how many impressions did they get tagging the brand and stuff. What would we have paid for that on Meta and things like that? And we can justify because I have the marketing budget. I got to spend it somehow. And so it's definitely hard because there's no direct conversion, report that you can pull from that. But the connections is like they support they truly makes them love the brand because they get to see who we are. We're not just somebody in their email.
Yeah,
exactly.
and also like as you said, it's like it's hard because it's not a direct ROI, and maybe like someone's gonna find like this reel that one of the influencer did like 6 months after that, but it will still be because of that, So, but it's more for awareness mainly. I mean, the point is like selling, of course, but it's also like for awareness, and
Yeah.
also what is powerful is that people will see, oh, this girl is like partner with this brand, so this brand must be good,
Yeah, no, it definitely is very important. I know one of our trips, I remember we did that kind of report where we pulled back to see like how many views total with everyone. I think one trip got us 30 million views. Yay. With all of the different posts that anyone else.
Better than like Facebook.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end of the day, it is lucrative. It is a lot of work. It is expensive, and it depends on, how much profit you kind of have at that time. I think in 2022 for us, because prior to that brand trip, we were heavily relying on organic, and it was working so well. Organic traffic on TikTok, not even having to put any money in ads, and the product was selling and it was doing its thing. And at that moment, we had a lot of, budget to work with, and that's when we decided, let's just take a risk on a brand trip. And after that experience, and it did well, that's when we continued to do more. So I think we've done 4,
Oh wow.
like 4 or 5 maybe, because we did,
Six.
yeah, depending on, because we also did like a couple concerts and things like that. I'm counting those too. So yeah, it's definitely a fun part of the strategy, and we love doing it when we can.
Yeah, and I feel like it's also a fun bonus for you guys because, like you said, you wanted to take a vacation, so why not do it with a? But yeah, it's a write-off. Great vacation. I barely feel like great advice. Well, I'm sure for you guys on your end, you're not vacation. You're not like with a mojito on the beach. So I'm sure that there's
Especially with a small team. I think like the most amount of us that we've ever had on a trip is like 5, and then we have a bunch, like 20 other people that we have to host. So, and there's 5 of us, so we're just all running around. We're setting up the rooms.
It's a lot of work, but it's an amazing experience. Like what we've been able to experience through the brand and like building this at the same time is like
It's honestly a dream come true.
Yeah.
Like, we would not want to do, if we could not do this and do something else instead, like there would be nothing else we would choose. This is,
we get to travel the world for the brand and meet amazing people. Can't complain.
we really can't complain. But also, we want people to know it's not like we're just on vacation.
It's extremely hard, very stressful, and it's a lot of money on the line all the time. So it's a lot of stress, but you can't complain.
Yeah, me and Jacob's thing has always been with this company, go big or go home.
Yeah.
That's always what we've said to each other.
love that.
A lot of risk.
Because we take so many risks, and we'll just look at each other and be like, go big or go home, and we go for it every time.
It's working though. I mean, the motto it's definitely sticking. So at least, hey, big risk, big reward at the end of the day. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy, honestly.
I had a question related to the future of the brand. Is that something you want like to connect it? Yeah, all the time. Is that something that you see yourself still working in like 5 to 10 years, or do you have like an exit plan or something?
What is the question? Brand trips? Or?
No.
next.
Exits about the company.
We're gonna do it.
If you don't want to talk about it, it's okay.
No,
Where do you want to go? What's next for Klassy? What's the dream?
No, I think for us, the next thing that we're really excited to focus on is like in-person experiences for our customers, and focusing on retail, maybe opening our first store first. And then if that goes well, trying to open up more as quickly as we can. Because I know right now, at least from what we've been studying and seeing, is that retail isn't dead in person, I know with COVID and then the rise of e-com for a second, it kind of slowed down, but now we're seeing people want to go back in stores. They want that in-person experience, and we want to give it to them. And with the pop-up shops, it was a great way for us to test and see if it's something that the customers want to see. And both pop-up shops have been like very successful. And so we're really excited to see that through for the next few years. That's a big goal. And also expanding our product line, we're really excited about. People are constantly asking us for activewear. They're asking us for swimwear. They're asking for all
I'm gonna ask you about both of those things because I feel like it'd be so perfect for everything you guys are doing. Yeah, like the activewear, swimwear would be.
Yeah.
We're
Working on it. Yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think to answer your question maybe a little bit more directly would be, I think what we're focused on right now is just trying to build the best brand possible, and we don't really think about that. Hey, if someone comes and they want to offer me a whole bunch of money, I'm not going to tell you I'm not going to think about it. But I think we can't even think about that. Like if we're going to actually get there and get there the right way, is we just have to focus on creating the best brand possible, creating the best products possible, and focus on our community, like our customers and our team, providing them opportunities, seeing them grow. And I feel like all that could lead to something like that, if we want. And, I think if that's the goal in mind for us is to create an amazing brand, we'll attract the right partners, which we have done so far. And maybe we'll find another partner that can take us from a few stores, or a handful of stores into, hundreds or maybe global, and I think, that's kind of where our mind is. And, but I think we have so much fun doing what we're doing. And if we keep growing, I don't see a reason why we have to sell or
Stop.
stop doing it.
Yeah, perfect.
We're living the dream.
I love that. I got one last question for this part. What is your end goal?
End goal.
Yeah,
Oh
like
my gosh.
what is the point where you're like, I finished the game? Like for example, is it World Shop? Worldwide. Sorry.
No, that would be
I hate my accent sometimes. Yeah, like
Oh.
for example, like I dream to have like a shop
Yeah.
in my country, in Paris, for example.
Oh.
Would you have that?
Yes.
Koi? You know what I mean? Or in Bali, or I don't know what.
I think for me is I want the coolest thing would be to build a brand where it's like a household name where everybody knows what Klassy is. You know, it's oh yeah, Klassy. You know, it's like you know what that is. Like those other big brands like Victoria's Secret, Skims, like things like that. People compare those brands to us a lot. And I'm like, wow. One day, imagine people are saying Klassy. Yeah, just like Spanx, exactly. That would be amazing. I'd be like, wow, we did it. Like we did that.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
I honestly could see that happening though with the way that you guys are going and just I love the way that your clothes are. Like you can use them in so many different ways that I could totally see that happening. But I wanted to ask you also, where did the name Klassy come from? Why Klassy?
Good question. I mean, honestly, not that much thought went into this business name at all. It was more so of I think when me and Jacob started it, we didn't even think it was going to work. It was more of like a test of we want to try e-commerce, let's see what happens. And so one day he just asked me what name, and I just thought to myself, if I could describe what type of fashion I like the most, like what is that? And I said classy, and that's the first thing that came out of my head. I just thought, okay, I love classy style. You know, if it's classy, it's timeless, never goes out of style, and that's what I wanted. At the time, obviously, classy is a word, so it's going to be taken. So I put with a K, and that was taken as well. So I had to add network to it. And I did that because I thought about what is something that I can add to this to make it unique. And I thought about the community and like the network of people that we were going to build that were going to wear the products. And when I first started, I was very focused on like female entrepreneurship, things like that. So network, like that word just resonated with me. And so that's what the business name started out as. And now that we're almost 7 years into it, we are actually dropping network because Klassy is available and we got it.
Great.
We got the trademark. So we're really excited. And I just cannot believe that I have a fashion brand named Klassy. Like that to me is iconic because it's such an easy thing to say. It's Klassy with a K. And I just can't even believe that it happened and it kind of worked out this way. So yes, that's how she was born.
Do you have any other questions? Okay. Well, then to anything?
No.
Okay. Well, to wrap up, this was such an amazing conversation. This was like honestly so insightful, just learning how you guys created a fashion brand, how you guys are thriving with the fashion brand in today's environment. So before we wrap up, do you guys want to plug like how people can find you, follow you? Obviously, they know they can shop at Klassy now without the network part. But please feel free to add in.
You can follow the brand at Klassy, Klassy, on Instagram. And I think TikTok as well. I'm not sure if it got changed. If not, you can try Klassy Network. I have to check. We are literally in the process of the name change right now. And then me personally, I am at It's Natalie Rogers on all social platforms. And Jacob is at Jacob Soto.
Yeah. That's it. And then YouTube. We're on YouTube.
YouTube. Can't forget YouTube. Jacob has an amazing channel, guys. He has all the behind the scenes on there. Very, very interesting.
A lot about the business and kind of what we're doing behind the scenes. Even like our processes, like even a little bit more in depth with, some of the questions that you asked, kind of dive deep into.
Insightful things there.
I love that because I'm like, I want to know like the nitty dirty details.
No, he's got all the gems. I love it. But thank you guys. This has been so fun. I was chatting with you.
Thank you so much for your time. This was so much fun. Like, had a great time with this conversation. So appreciate you both. Thank you so much.
Of course.